Okay, so here I am now on Instagram Live, and I have to figure out how I add Ivan Bartok. And if anybody has any tips, I'd appreciate it because I literally have no idea what I'm doing. Okay, hang on. Is it this? Hang on, I think I might be able to do this. I'm waiting for Ivan to do something. Oh no, that's just... He may request you to add him. Okay, Joe Malazzi is here and he's telling me that Ivan is fast and furiously so he says, thanks for doing it, whatever it is. My pleasure. Okay, hang on. Ivan's gonna be here. Oh, here he is. Waiting for Ivan Bartok. We're so close to something amazing. There he is. There he
is. I had to come outside because I'm tired of being locked in. Can you hear me?
Brilliantly.
Oh, nice. I'm going to turn up my volume.
You've got sunglasses on and everything.
Oh, and the sun is nice. It's sort of starting to leave the building in a second, but it's so nice to be outside because I have been pretty locked up guy.
Really? Why? What's going on?
I don't know. I don't like to go out.
Is there some reason that you can't leave your house?
No.
You just won't.
I just don't because I fear people, animals, dogs mostly.
Sure.
Can we, so we just watched that episode and it made me feel, I felt so nostalgic. And I got all those memories of like, one of the funniest things, and I mentioned it on Twitter, was when we were filming in that sort of underground location where we had the shootout with Jace. It was a freezing, cold, snowy day, and I was so sick. And halfway through that day,
sick on set,
I was so sick. That whole season, I was not a healthy dude.
You guys should know that it was a miracle if you asked Ivan how he was feeling, and he was like, you know what, I'm actually feeling pretty good.
It was good. I was dealing with some stuff for sure, and so I was not well that day, and I was dizzy. Like I was almost like fall over dizzy, and I ended up falling asleep in Jodell's trailer for like 2.5 hours. So
did you pick her specifically, or did you just wake up and find yourself in
no,
Jodell's trailer?
I was told that she wasn't there that day, so they said, yeah, go ahead, we'll make sure.
That's good, because it would have been the
hey, shh, just quiet, I'm napping.
I mean, they're spacious, but I don't know.
They were okay, but it was, and also it's that drive home, and then I was not feeling well, and then we had to do that drive home in the snow. From Hamilton, and I'd lived in Vancouver for so long, so coming back and getting used to the snow again, everything was making me sick and stressed.
Really, that's a lot for you.
It really was. So I enjoy the sun right now and the not snow.
I know.
But it was a fun episode. What do you remember about that episode? Because watching you step out of the android role had to been fun for you, right? But hard work.
The thing that I didn't expect that really caught me off guard was that because the human character didn't have a backstory in the way that the other characters had, I struggled to figure out who she actually was. Like, who was I playing?
Yeah, you gave her a little swag, which was nice.
I had to, sort of had to impromptu come up with, like, someone that felt like a three-dimensional person, but who nobody had ever really met. We didn't know her.
I also felt, and maybe this is, we had never discussed this, but I also felt it was kind of like what the android thinks that she had to do in order, like what we, because it wasn't like your average human, right? It was kind of like the android playing a human. That's why it was so great. When she walked into that space station and tried to get arrested, I mean, some of those lines were so funny, and it was to me, you could see the android underneath that, which for me, why I think it worked so well. And it was so good.
I remember trying to, there was the scene where I take his hat off and I fling it down the hallway.
Yeah.
And we had to shoot that scene a pile of times because I could never quite fling it so that it went straight down the hall and right where the camera needed it. It would like smash into a wall, or I'd hit a crew guy, or I would do something. So we ended up shooting me flinging that hat down the hall a million times. And of course, we had, I think, 2 shirts that we could rip. Like when I tore his shirt, and then when I tore it, it didn't open all the way. So I had to kind of give it a little flip at the end so that we could see his beautiful, beautiful chest.
Well, that's the thing about anytime you're doing like stunts, like when that opening scene too, it's like, you know, we only have so many tables you can break. There's only so many shirts you can rip.
There just are so many tables that you can break.
Yeah, and that adds to that sort of stress. And I remember shooting at that day, and that was a really fun day. And we were out in Hamilton, I think. Weren't we in some dive bar?
Probably.
Yeah, it's so hard to remember things, isn't it?
Yeah, because it was a while ago.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But that's what's fun about kind of going back and doing the rewatch. And I would imagine, you know, fans of the show and yours who were watching it also kind of get that. You go back and you watched it once and everybody loved it when it was out. And to go back, for me, I have the nostalgia of like, oh, it was so much fun to be there and work on that show. And it was a great place to go in every day.
Somebody's asking here if the slap on Anthony's ass was my idea. I don't think so. I think it was in the script, wasn't it? When I first come out and I'm like, here I am, what do you guys think? I slap him on the bum as I walk down that hall. I think that was in the script. I don't think I came up with that.
I don't remember. I mean, that would definitely be a Joe question. I mean, that was so long ago, but it definitely worked. It was definitely,
you don't remember that one specific moment?
Yeah, I don't remember anything.
Kind of a producer fan, are you?
Yeah. I do remember. Well, watching that, to me, that again was that sort of that character, those character moments when she switched from, because the juxtaposition between the android and then who the android decided she was going to be as a human being.
Yeah.
Was just so funny, and those little moments were great. So, and I mean,
I was anxious. I remember it was funny because when I first got the part of the android, I was incredibly nervous about how I would ever play this character. It was nothing, it wasn't even close to anything I'd ever played in my whole career, let alone what I had just come off of. Mm-hmm. And the idea of having sort of all of those tools that an actor has, which is all your mannerisms and your facial expressions and your sort of little things that you bring to a character, those were all stripped away, and I had to find something. And I remember being really terrified that I would be interesting. Like, I was so worried that I would just not be interesting enough for people to want to, you know, watch that character. But the irony of it was that when I had to drop her and become a human being, I became just as anxious about how on earth to transition from this character that now everybody had kind of known to playing a person. And I walked out. I remember walking out on set that day in front of like Melissa and Anthony and everybody, and I kind of have that moment where I go, so here I am, guys, what do you think? And I remember being genuinely nervous about the entrance with my own castmates.
Right. Well, I mean, it's vulnerable, right? I mean, what was the process of you? I mean, obviously you kind of brought that in, that character in the audition, but like, what's the process of sort of getting to the place where you feel like, oh, I think this is the android, and then ultimately, like, it's got to be tough because, you know, when you come in and you're acting, and let's say you're just kind of playing a tough guy or you're playing a doctor or whatever, but having to stay in that zone all the time because you weren't, you know, Method where you would walk off set and then you were the android. No. And cut, and then here's Zoie, right? So what's that challenge like for you to be able to kind of stay in that role? Because it's not just a voice. It's also the way you move your body. It's the way you move your head. It's all those like sort of from head to toe.
I had amazing posture after Dark Matter.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's actually incredible because I was quite still on the show and I was often standing on one spot a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would sometimes do entire scenes where I didn't physically move around the set at all. So I would be stood on one spot, standing straight up. And it's actually quite hard to do after a while on your back and stuff, right? But I think that certainly, you know, to get yourself into a character, it's so many things. Costume is huge. I mean, as soon as I would zip on that onesie, it does really inform something, right? Like, it's hard to be in that kind of an outfit and feel casual and not have a kind of stature or posture about you. So there was that stuff. The voice was huge. And really with the voice, like, I sort of was playing with that the whole of season 1.
Right.
Like, it was I never came with it and went, this is her. It was like the whole season I felt like I was kind of playing with that voice to figure it out. And then by the time season 2 and 3 came along, I had it. Yeah. But then even with the red android, I had to make that voice just very slightly different. Mm-hmm. And it was very minor, but it was just a bit more rigid, really almost no inflection. Like, you know,
right. I mean, because
my
red
android had a bit of sort of
personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And red android, I sort of imagined her as a total sociopath. Mm-hmm. And almost like, and by that, I don't even mean that in a negative way, which I don't know what I'm saying now, but like, I just mean in that she was just clinical. She was just, this is the way it's to be. This is how we behave. You're not behaving that way and it's wrong.
Yeah, she's more of a computer. And
she was simply a computer.
Came across. And I just saw a question come across the board, and I missed their name, but they said, did you get to keep any of the androids' outfits?
I mean, sure, I could have, I think. I didn't.
No, but
because
didn't?
I thought, well, I wasn't sure where I might wear such a thing.
Well, it's good to have, like, I mean, I have a whole GA uniform. You remember when we... And
do you have cause to wear it?
No, I just like to keep it. I mean, Joe and I went down. I'm sure he's got a bunch of props. He has so many props that, like, but these big, ridiculous things that are in storage that I don't know, we joke about it because he has one of these GA signs that's like a 5x5, 400-pound wood thing. It would have gone to waste, I think. I think sort of at the end there, in the end of season
Halloween.
3.
Somebody just said Halloween.
Yeah, Halloween.
Can you imagine me wandering around for Halloween in the android? I feel like that might cost
be pretty good. Yeah, well, I ended up with one of the GA outfits and then one of those masks, what looks like they're like an actual tactical masks that we ordered. So I'm really excited to have that. And for me, it's like just really cool to kind of like, I mean, it's sitting in my closet, but maybe one day it's like, you know.
Well, listen, I'll tell you what, I'll make you a deal. If you dress up as your GA guy, I will dress up as Android, and the two of us go, I don't know where, grocery shopping?
Yeah.
Like, it's got to be somewhere. It can't be anywhere other than somewhere totally normal, like the bank.
The difference is that I don't know if I didn't check it for like my size. I just like
you have no idea?
No, Joe was like, "Hey, come down and pick something."
One size too small.
Yeah, it probably is. After this quarantine, everything's going to be one size too small.
Are you eating a lot?
I'm Johnny Snacks. Like, and I try to be good. Like, I eat a certain type of diet, but it's like, you know, I get up, I go for a bike ride. I mean, in my place, I ride the bike, and then like,
your living room?
Yeah, well, I have one of those trainers, and then it's that thing where you stand up and I open up the fridge door, and then I'm like, no, and then I'm grabbing I eat a weird diet, but then I have these like keto snacks, and I'm like, you're supposed to eat one every like 3 days, and I'm like knocking off boxes of them, so I'm sure I'm gonna, you know, I did 9 push-ups today, so maybe that'll help.
Oh, good for you. Like, so you don't like round numbers?
No, I did a bunch. It's like I'm running out of things to do. But we don't, who wants to talk about? We're all in the same position, everybody watching. Maybe we should take some questions.
Yeah, are there questions? Does anybody have anything they want to know?
Someone.
Somebody's saying you should do Pilates with me in the morning. I've been doing Pilates every morning.
I saw that.
Stark naked.
Wow. Are you teaching the class?
No. I go onto YouTube and I find a Pilates workout, and I don't like any fabric in the way.
Fair.
So I just, you know, I'm in my own room. Sometimes I tweet a video out, just a totally inappropriate video. And I just, that's what I do. It's just a way to enjoy the time.
Well, if you're at home and you're doing it, I did some push-ups shirtless, but it wasn't, I had to have pants on because I'm not as comfortable as you.
There's quite a few people asking for an Android voice.
Oh.
So I'll do a little something here.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
See if I can do it. It's been a real long
and there will be no acting back to you because that would just ruin everything. No.
Can you do red Android for me?
Oof, no.
That's just a no.
Because it's like, no. Like,
okay.
Yeah, okay. You go
See if I can do it here. Gotta get it.
Should I lead it in? Should I ask you a question? Like,
probably not.
Okay.
You could, but then if I wasn't ready to answer, it would go to hell.
True, fair enough.
Hi, Ivon. It's nice to see you. I've missed you. It's been a long time.
It makes me uncomfortable because it's like it's so not. because it's not. It's just that's why you're so good at it. I know because I'm talking to Joe early on, and when he told me about you coming on board, it was like there was just nobody else that could have done it. Like that's how I mean,
Oh, I don't know.
Well, he said. I mean, I know. Listen. I talk to Joe a lot. He lives very close to me. I can almost see his place from here.
He's literally he's just outside of frame.
Yeah, but I think in general, like that cast, I think when you look back and you realize how lucky we were. I mean, and just like good people, good people. Like there's, I mean, what a lucky place to be. But we stopped taking questions, so let's go. Let's see if we can hit some questions.
Can you record my voicemail message? Well, if I knew who you were. Say boobs in that voice. Oh, yeah. Boobs.
Nice.
There you go.
How many accents can you do, Zoe?
I don't know. I can do a lot of sort of European. Apparently I was going to turn that into
Euro.
A very big word. Yeah, I mean, I was born in England. My mother is Irish. She's in Northern Ireland, so I can do a pretty good, specifically Derry accent.
I'm also a British
French.
citizen, by the way.
What's that?
I also have my British citizenship as well.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. That's right.
I do.
You were born in England, were you?
No, I was born here, but my mother was born in England. So before I was 18, I got my citizenship, and then I was like, just in case I ever have to scoot and go live there, criminal stuff. Yeah.
Not now, maybe.
No.
Not at the minute.
No, I can't. Okay,
but
waiting for questions.
But for actors, I mean, we have to do them. I mean, Melanie Liburd has a very strong English accent, and brilliantly did a North American sort of, general North American accent for the show. And it's sort of. I mean, I think most actors have a few in their back pocket. You kind of.
Mm-hmm. When you did, because you did a Jamaican accent in.
I did.
And what was that like? Because were you like, oh God, I don't want to do this. Like,
I don't remember. I mean, I sort of took it like, and it was possibly a tiny bit controversial, maybe, and probably even, but I sort of took it like, because she was an android.
Yes.
She just had a Rolodex.
Yep.
Of accents, and it was just that they were just programmed in.
Isn't that the joy of sci-fi in general, though? I mean, sci-fi in its history has always enabled us to kind of do stuff outside the box, and also tell, like, kind of be very, just tell stories that at a time, especially early Star Trek and everything else, that maybe were a little bit more that. And this is not related to a Jamaican accent, but that character was able to kind of do all kinds of stuff, which was.
But I think also what was so cool about Dark Matter, and not to be missed right now, is that we had a hugely diverse cast.
Yeah.
We had a pile of ethnicities on our cast, which I think should be the case, and it was the case in our case. I'll just keep finding reasons to say the word case, and we'll just keep going. And and so and I loved that for obvious reasons. It's great to have different people bringing different things to the game, and that was one thing about Dark Matter I thought was pretty great.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it just makes sense too for a show like that. I mean, we are 400 or 500 years in the future. There's a mix. It's like it's not about anybody's background. It's just nice to see that on screen. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that was.
Yeah, and sexuality was played with on the show as well.
Yeah.
That was. I mean, it was all up for grabs, and had we kept going, I think that just would have gone further and further with all of that sort of thing. I mean, yeah.
Which is fun.
Somebody's saying, I wish we had gone to see the Dr. Shaw storyline. You and me both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was disappointed too, because that was a really interesting character that I sort of started to get to play and never got to really properly explore. So I'd say we're all a bit disappointed about that. But
yeah, I think there was a lot of. I mean, Joe really planned this out. I mean, this was his baby from the beginning when he did the comics, and it was sort of all the plan. Like, if I can create this comic and then sell that comic to a show, and he had this 5-year plan and 5-season plan, and it was just a real shame that we didn't get to finish it. And maybe there's a miracle one day. I have no idea. I mean,
this
business is crazy, but it really was a shame that we didn't get to at least.
We'll all be in our 80s and 90s, just pick it right back up where we left off.
Why not? Okay. More looking for questions here.
Somebody's saying, how did you come up with the Southern accent? I don't think I came up with that. I think that I was asked to do. Was that in the script? Where I played the Southern woman?
No, I think you
episode,
came up with it. I think.
Are you struggling? You're like, I don't know.
No, not this. No. In another episode, I think that. Really, the one and you had that outfit on and you had the boa.
Yeah, the pink.
Which I hated it. I hated the pink boa so much.
You didn't like it?
I tried to kill it, but
why not?
I hated it. I just thought it was too much. But Noreen was there, and she was very sensitive about it. I love her to death. But she kind of liked the whole thing, and I was like, oh, it was too much. But it worked out. It was fun.
I think I pulled it off.
You did pull it off.
I just didn't like the boa. Anyone who's watching. Did I pull it off?
Of course you pulled it off.
Now you're in trouble. Somebody say, would you prefer a miniseries or a movie to finish it off? I don't know. I mean, do you think we could finish it in a movie?
You could. I think Joe would have to kind of come up with a different story. I think a miniseries would be great. Like just, I think it would be great. Like a nice, 5-episode miniseries, 4 episodes. I mean, it would be 8, like 2 seasons, 8 and 10 a pop. Something.
Yeah.
Okay. Ever get hurt on set doing stunts? I saw that.
Not on this show, but I have been hurt. I'm not going to say the show nor the actor, but I was on a show, and I was a guest star. It was day 1 of, I don't know, probably a 10-day episode or something. And on day 1, there was a huge fight sequence going down a massive set of stairs. So the stairs went down, there was a corner, more stairs. So it was a massive staircase fight scene. And we were doing the rehearsal, and the actress who I was playing with, who's a lovely, brilliant actress, it was a perfect storm of disaster. But they were trying to, while we were rehearsing, which is generally a bit of a no-no, but while we were rehearsing, they were setting up lights around us.
That's a huge no-no.
You're being,
yeah.
They were coming in trying to sort of move quickly. They were trying to set up lights, and she's going backwards down the stairs, and I'm fighting her going forwards. She stepped onto something that she shouldn't have, tripped, looked behind her, but was continuing to punch.
Oh no!
And nailed me right in this eye right here. Knocked me flying, like just wrecked me.
That was definitely not John Stead.
No. Anyway, she was horrified. I was out for the count.
Of course.
I had a massive black eye. But the reason it was unfortunate was because it was day 1.
Oh, no.
So for 9 more days, hair and makeup had to figure out how to, hide what was a very swollen, very black and blue black eye.
And all you're feeling is that throbbing as you're working. Yeah. You're like, eye.
But the actress sent to my trailer the next day a huge bunch of flowers saying, oh my God, so sorry. Yeah. Totally wasn't her fault. It was just a situation that went wrong. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure on our set we had some injuries, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, listen, yes. Well, I think, but stunt
things
players,
people bend their finger back the wrong way.
But I think the stunt actors often, they're. I mean, I've been on some shows where I remember doing Stargate, and we had this episode where a guy got hit by a car, and he actually gets hit by a car. But these stunt performers,
like the actor.
It was a stunt performer who played an actor on the show, and so you can't end a career like that, or a season like that, or an episode like that without being hurt. But there's definitely times where you're going to have some little accidents, hurt finger, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because the amount of work that goes into a stunt, and a lot of the fights that you did and your character did, talk a bit about that one where you would fly up on top, that move. I think it was in early season 1. I mean, that was a crazy. I forget was it episode 1?
I don't remember the number, but John Stead, who was Dara, I don't have enough words to say how much I respect John Stead as a stunt coordinator. I think he's so good at what he does. Yeah. Not just in terms of safety, which is like he's very big on in terms of making sure the set is safe, but also his choreography is so intricate. Mm-hmm. And I'm rarely challenged to the degree I've done lots of fight scenes in my career, and I'm rarely challenged to remember that much choreography. He'd go, here's a piece, and you'd learn it, and he'd go, awesome, here's another piece. And you'd learn it, and it would be like 4 or 5 pieces, huge pieces to a fight sequence that you have to not only perform, but remember in order. So it was a lot like lines or dance choreography for anyone who does dance.
Right.
And So that one was, yeah, I had to run, step up on his knee, fling myself around his back, land on his neck, and then come down. And but of course, you know, we have stunt doubles all of the time.
Of course, but you have to, in order to make it work,
yeah.
you have to do it, because it's all about editing too, right? And how we shoot it and angles.
Sure.
And if we can't, I mean, listen, there's going to be times where you could say, well, you know, okay, Zoe doesn't want to do this, and you never said that. But then you're struggling, because it's tougher to make that look as good. So if you can go and do that, yes. And then you can go in and maybe there's a few things that are kind of super dangerous because we need you the next scene. I mean, that's what stunt people are for, ultimately. God bless them, and they deserve so much credit.
But I'm always so determined to learn them. Like, I never want, listen, there's no part of me that's confused that when whichever stunt double does your part, they show you the whole sequence.
Yes.
And it's like watching somebody who thinks they can run and then watching an Olympian run. It's like that much difference. So I would do it, and it's fine. But then the stunt double does it, and they show you how it's supposed to be done. It's a whole other thing. So they cut in and out, and where you don't see their face, and if there's a really complicated, intricate move, they'll use the stunt double, and so they should, because, you know, they're hired for the reason they're hired. They're very good at what they do.
But as a viewer of a TV show, the more that I can see your face when that action is going, the more I'm in it. If I'm on the back of your head for too long, which is the stunt person, then, you know, and maybe that's because I work in this business, that sometimes I'm like, oh, that's the stunt double, there's Zoe, that's whatever, you know. So, but the more that you can be on the actor's face, I just think it brings way more life to a shot like that, and to a scene like that. And so that's why, you know, you guys did such a great job. The whole cast did, in terms of wanting to participate. I mean, Alex, you know, was all about it, whether it was the sword stuff.
He was amazing.
And, yeah, I remember we did a scene with Alex once, and I forget what episode it was. And he had to be doing pull-ups, and he's like, no, I got this. And it was like, I think he forgot that you do have to do multiple takes. And it was like 15 pull-ups every time. And by the end of it, he was dead. But it was a joy to watch, because it was just fun to see him struggle. And
somebody's asking if I still have contact with Anna Silk from Lost Girl. Yes, I do. We talk quite a bit. We text all the time. We're doing the home con next weekend. Somebody just asked if it was harder to do the Android jargon or Lost Girl jargon. Oh, Android for sure. Yeah, the Android lines were some of the hardest I've ever had to learn and say. They were so sort of, you know, they were big scary words that I didn't understand most of the time. So, but
how many seasons was Lost Girl?
5.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Let's see some more questions here. Anyway, no, let's get a few questions here.
Okay, let's get a few questions, and then we'll say.
It's Cody's birthday next Saturday. Happy birthday, Cody.
Happy birthday.
Okay, hit us with some questions here. Oh, and Joe did say, I saw Joe, he said it would have to be, if it's going to be finished, he would need a miniseries. So he said.
Okay, miniseries it is.
Yeah. A lot of Lost Girl love on there.
Yeah, thanks, guys. We miss it, and we miss you all, and it's appreciated.
Yeah, they said you miss the Lost Girl team.
I'll do my best.
Stay healthy. I think you're a little.
How are you on set? Is serious or goofy? I was quite serious on Dark Matter. I mean, we would be silly at times, but you know, sometimes certain characters bring out more or less things in you, and I was often in my cast chair just looking over my lines and really trying to stay, you know. But you know, we'd all mess around, and when we
had a good time. There's a time for it. But when you're shooting 12, we did kind of 11 and a half, 12-hour days, and, you know, limited second unit, and it was pace.
It's
on
going
that
quick.
Show.
So, and when you're doing 10, 13 pages a day at times with that kind of dialogue,
yeah.
You know, if you were looking for me, I was in my cast chair running them in my head. You know, it was just that.
And that set, which was, I mean, the Raza set was unbelievable in terms of the way it looks, but, you know, it was dry and hot in there. Like it was. I mean, maybe I'm just really soft, but you know, but that's gotta affect.
It was dark.
It was
we
dark.
We would get there and it was dark. We'd be in dark all day, and we'd wrap, and it was dark.
Yeah,
Somebody's asking about the Ruby Rose episode. That was awesome.
Yeah,
that was a lot of fun. She was great. It was fun to play sort of a slightly jealous android.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
That was
You
actually
know.
one of my favorite. That was some of my favorite Android stuff.
Yeah, that was a blast. I loved it. Ruby was totally lovely and good person. Android spin-off, maybe. You never know.
What's next for me on WebGrow?
Well, you just did
Marianne?
Utopia Falls.
I just did Utopia Falls, which was a ton of fun. It was a whole different kind of world. I did that with Joe and RT. I don't know what the deal is. We stopped that a few months ago, wrapped up the season. It's airing on CBC and then it's on Hulu. And then everything kind of stopped. The world stopped. So I don't know what's next for me. Hopefully a job at some point.
If we could just start with being allowed to leave the house, I'll be happy.
Yeah, maybe a nice stroll. But I'm looking onto a park right now. Yeah, and living in a condo is weird because it's like touching stuff. Being in a house. If I right now, I'd love to have a house that I could walk out the door and then be on the street. But right. I'm always
you have to go to the elevator.
Gotta go to the elevator or walk down the stairs. I walk down the stairs, but you gotta get. No way, you fancy. It's just a bucket and a string.
It's a big.
What else do we got here? What are you having for dinner tonight, Zoe?
I have no idea. I literally never think about food until it's to the point where I'm eating it. And then I don't think too much about it's not a I'm English. We just eat because you have to. Like English people, they just eat because you have to do it to live.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like a big food place.
That was like Norman Denver.
It was just like something was on the plate, you ate it. And I'm still a bit like that. Hi from Germany, hi back. Hi, South Africa. Wow. Well, listen, it was nice for everybody to tune in. Thank you for watching.
Yes.
We appreciate it. Don't we?
It was a nice distraction. It was fun to tweet. It was fun to be here and talk to you. I mean, I just fun to talk to you. But it was a nice distraction. And I really just hope everybody keeps safe and if you can stay indoors, and if anybody on here is working in any sort of first responder, I don't care if it's a grocery store or anything, like God bless you. Like it's a crazy time, and I just hopefully everybody's safe, and I hope you're safe, Zoe.
Yeah, thank you to anybody who's out there on the front lines. Honestly, I every time I go to the grocery store, I say thank you to the person who's standing behind the cash register, to everybody in the health field. I mean, we literally couldn't do it without you. So a huge thank you.
Yeah, be kind to people. This is the perfect time to be kind to people. It's like, it's good times, bad times, whatever times. But
nice to see you, Ivon.
It was great to see you, and hopefully we'll go for dinner at some point when this is all done. All right.
Air hugs to everybody.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye.